China. And of course, other leaders are taking up that power void that remains. Of course, we're going to talk about the summit that took place between India, Russia, and China. I'm going to go pee real quick.
Holding hands, Russia's Vladimir Putin and India's Narendra Modi head straight for their host, Chinese President Xi Jinping. They form a huddle with their translators and exchange a few words, even a few laughs. For Xi, the optics are ideal as he seeks to assert himself as a world leader they can count on. In his opening speech at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, he told members that global governance had reached a new crossroads, taking not-so-subtle jabs at the United States.
We should uphold fairness and justice. We must promote a correct historical perspective on World War II and oppose the Cold War mentality. We should block confrontation and bullying practices.
When Donald Trump upended the global trading system, he provided fertile ground for President Xi to rally partners from around the world. This summit is one example, aiming to strengthen ties between more than 20 countries from across Asia and the Middle East through cooperation on issues ranging from AI, infrastructure, or the creation of an SCO development bank. Modi would have once been much more cautious about showing public displays of affection for Putin and Xi as he tried to cultivate India's relationship with the US. But with Delhi currently facing a 50% levy on its exports, analysts say Modi has been pushed into the arms of his Chinese counterpart, even despite years of tensions over a border dispute.
The Shanghai Cooperation Organization can become the guiding light for multilateralism and an inclusive world order.
Meanwhile,
people always say do nothing, win, but like this is doing something. It's not doing nothing. He is doing something, okay? It's really interesting. It's so funny that this is happening for actually no reason. I mean, it's not necessarily, there is a reason for this. Part of that is because Donald Trump is in this unique bind where on the one hand, he must, for the foreign policy decisions of America, for the State Department, he has to apply pressure to Russia, because Russia is delivering a significant blow to American hegemony by, you know, disrupting the power that America had as the world police, right? He's like, nope, I'm going to do some fuck shit. I'm going to invade Ukraine. I'm going to kill as many people as I want, and you can't do anything about it. And then after years and years of America being like, no, you can't do that. We're going to help Ukraine to the best of our ability. It's clear that it hasn't worked. But on top of the existing sanctions, there is obviously another sanctions package that Donald Trump could potentially entertain. This sanctions package is against India, because India is basically now assumed the role of a mediator for Russian oil and Russian energy to enter the international markets to avoid the sanctions, right? Problem is, India is also a key ally against China. India is supposed to be the bulwark against Chinese socialism, growing Chinese socialism in the region, growing Chinese power in the region. So you can't really sanction India, especially at a time like this, as I have described time and time again. Trump knows this. So even the mere threat of sanctioning India is enough for India to go back into the hands of China and maybe even leverage America by exhibiting a closeness to China to get more favorable deals out of the United States of America. And that's where we're at.
Xi is gearing up for his next major event, a military parade in Beijing attended by leaders of Russia, North Korea and Iran to mark 80 years since the end of the Second World War.
Chinese President Xi Jinping opened the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin by calling on leaders to work harder to forge a new world order.
A global governance concept based on consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits.
Also, you know, once again, Modi's still Modi, okay? Close to China, anti-China, doesn't matter. That's still a fascist, okay? Let's be real. This is, in some respects, like if Xi Jinping was developing closer ties with Israel. It's not the same as Israel, but you know, Modi is a Modi in the Modi, I would say, is like closest in ideological alignment to a country like Israel or a leader like Benjamin Netanyahu. So it's not this isn't. This is yet again further evidence that there is no internationalist socialist perspective developing socialism around the globe coming from the Chinese side. Okay.
Practicing genuine multilateralism, deepening cooperation with the United Nations, and constructively participating in international and regional affairs.
It was the largest gathering of the Trade and Security Bloc since it was founded in 2001, participating with some of China's closest partners and friends, including Russian leader Vladimir Putin and the president of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was also in attendance. During a bilateral meeting with President Xi, he pledged to improve New Delhi's previously frosty ties with Beijing. Modi's visit to China comes days after the US imposed a 50% tariff on Indian goods.
There was an expectation that this Trump administration would continue to be a close partner for India. And the fact that that hasn't worked out means that India might have neglected the region for.
They're offering stability that the USA doesn't. On the international scale, China, especially in that region, especially in Asia, is beefing up Asian cooperation because they're saying, look, America's unstable, it's dangerous, it's a madman. And you can see it, we can see it, we can all see it. We offer stability. On the other hand, if you look at internal politics in India, I feel like Modi's time is running out. The walls are closing in. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like for Modi and the BJP in general. But this kind of this kind of olive branch extended to the BJP by China, I suspect, gives more power to Modi. It's a saving grace for someone like Modi. What do you even know about Indian politics? By my own admission, I think it's incredibly complex, and I don't fully comprehend it. I am the first to admit that. So if you take issue with what I'm saying currently, as far as domestic Indian affairs, and what Modi is seeking to do here, you can tell me if I'm wrong on any of this, but I feel like it's not very, my analysis is fairly reductive.
Far too long.
Many of the nations at this summit share India's frustrations with US tariffs. Xi Jinping wants to harness that frustration and motivate SCO members to work more closely together to reduce their reliance on Western-led security initiatives and trade. The bloc signed a joint statement and agreed on a development plan for the next decade, pledging wider cooperation in energy, infrastructure, green industries, the digital economy, and artificial intelligence. An SCO development bank.
You do understand that Xi doesn't choose the Indian prime minister, right? No, of course not. What do you mean? I'm not saying that at all. I'm not sure how much power Xi Jinping would have over Indian affairs in general, but the power that he does have is a very important regional power he is using to prop up Modi like this. And the reason why he's doing that is because this is, once again, America's major bulwark in the region against growing Chinese influence. So it's purely self-interested from the Chinese perspective.
Will be established, with some pushing for an independent payment system to reduce dependence on the dollar and circumvent Western sanctions.
In the face of a resurgence of unilateral bullying, the summit issued a statement firmly supporting the multilateral trading system with the World Trade Organization at its core. It called for the elimination of unilateral practices that violate WTO rules, sending a clear message of rejecting hegemony and upholding fairness, and voicing a shared commitment to maintaining an open world economy.
China has pledged to provide $280 million in aid and loans to member states and expand educational opportunities. Numerous meetings were held on the sidelines, which provided an opportunity for Putin to brief Modi and Xi on his summit with US President Donald Trump in Alaska last month, a meeting he said he hoped would pave the way to peace in Ukraine. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Tianjin, China.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable...
We're trade maxing.
New comments from Chinese leader Xi Jinping, who took a veiled dig at the U.S. as he promoted his vision of a new global order. Xi told leaders at a major summit, quote, "The house rules of a few countries should not be imposed by others." He said more as well.
We should advocate for an equal and orderly, multipolar world and a universally beneficial and inclusive economic globalization, and make the global governance system more just and equitable.
What's truly interesting is who was there rubbing shoulders with Xi. Russia's Vladimir Putin and India's Narendra Modi all shared a laugh with the Chinese leader on the sidelines, really almost literally.
Dude, I don't understand one thing here. Like, if I'm a remotely competent European leader, I'm trying to bring Chinese investment into the European continent to the best of my ability. Okay? I'm trying to set up as many cooperation agreements with China as I possibly can. I'm like petitioning the EU to be like, dude, we got to fucking lean into this China shit. It doesn't make any fucking sense that you're looking at the situation and the lordship over there is demanding more in tithing from you. And all of these leaders around you in Europe are going, yes, sir. Yes, master. We will give you whatever you want to America. Like, there is no way out of this. There's no way out of this without like leaning into the same exact leverage point that every other global South country has leaned into, which is developing separate agreements with China. Like, even if you're not going to fully cooperate with China, it doesn't make any sense that you would not at least try to get a better deal out of the United States of America by leaning in that direction in the same way that like even fucking India is doing, you know? And I genuinely don't see it. I don't understand it. And if you talk to like Europe politicians, if you talk to European politicians, if you talk to politicians that have existed under the security banner of America in any NATO nation, they literally are just like, nah, dude, you cannot trust the Chinese. Straight up, you cannot trust the Chinese ever. That is unironically their position. They're like, look, America is great. It's helpful. It's helped us. It helped us prosper post World War II. We were really scared about socialism growing. We did not want that to happen. That's why we found ourselves in the comfortable bosom of American security. But like in the EU especially, or even in like Japan, on the one hand, there are obviously because of its proximity, there are a lot of important trade relations with China. But in the EU, while there is important trade relations with China, they are totally, it's a non-starter. The notion that like you would ever do any sort of like leaning towards China is a non-starter.
He's an exceptional assassin. He never looks the same way twice.
Even if it's a point of leverage.
Rubbing shoulders. For Modi, it was his first trip to China in 7 years. Let's get right to CNN's Ivan Watson, who is in Tianjin.
Sweet Bear, bro, China is the enemy here, and I've never had a politician explain why. I mean, the question remains, the USSR was the enemy as well. It's just like, what's the reason? Because like everything you could point to the USSR with respect to USSR being the enemy, America has done tenfold. You know what I mean? Like you say, oh, encroachment. They're forcibly controlling they're forcibly controlling all these like Eastern Bloc countries, and that's bad. And it's like, okay, but then America's doing their own version of that, maybe with a more quote unquote peaceful approach, seemingly. But as far as like imperialism goes, they continued that tenfold, propping up military dictatorships, propping up fascist dictatorships, overthrowing people's interest in maintaining their own sovereignty, autonomy, voting democratically for, social democrats or socialists, God forbid. Like, even when we talk about Chinese imperialism in Africa, this is a great example of this. Like, do you see what I mean? This is what I mean. Everything that you can point to with respect to the USSR or even China now, America's doing tenfold and has done so tenfold, which is precisely the reason why these guys in these respective nations have decided to align with China over America, because they at least look at it and go, well, they don't have 400 years of chattel slavery. that they can point to, and also their loans are better. And this is a reality that even American thinkers and American analysts are aware of. Like, this is the Chinese